Hey everybody, I am Haley Gray and I'm the founder of the Women's Entrepreneur Network, and I'm excited to be with you here today doing this amazing interview with Julie Bittrick. Hey Julie.
Hi there.
Hi, welcome. Let's do this. Welcome everybody. I am so excited to be here and so excited to welcome my guest today, Julie. Julie, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do?
Sure. So I was previously in my past life an ICU nurse. Currently, I am a stay-at-home mom with 5 kids. And on the side, I have a business helping network marketers build their businesses natively without scaring off their friends, family, and neighbors. So we use attraction marketing, and I help them with that. I
That is very cool.
also, with my 5 kids staying at home, I have a couple with special needs, so they keep me a little bit busy with that, and I homeschool one of them. So I have a lot hopping around in my life.
Yeah, I feel you. And I mean, I think that's one of the things that, resonates the most with me is, the reality for most women and most humans who are doing this business thing is that we have other things going on in our lives. Um, and we don't talk about that, I think, often enough. Like, how do we attract clients? How do we balance life, kids, everything else? Because I have four, one of them with severe mental health and physical issues, and I'm her legal guardian. She's an adult now, and it is nonstop. It is absolutely nonstop. And I will say that this week, alone, I've been dealing with, okay, did you have that one on your bingo card for this week? Because I did not have that one on my bingo card for this week. And living it and attracting people. So tell me, what got you into, direct sales, direct marketing, MLMs? What attracted you to it?
Well, so I didn't mention, and you're aware of this, but I have my own chronic connective tissue disorder that I also passed on to my children. And the reason I'm not working as an ICU nurse anymore is that I simply took a fall and landed on my butt. And because I'm built like a Gumby that doesn't go back together again, I injured my low back and my sacroiliac joints. And over time, I've developed more and more pain just throughout my body, and that keeping me off work means I've lost most of my income. And eventually now I'm looking at, well, what am I going to do long term? How can I develop another source of income? What am I going to do as I reach the age of retirement? And finding a great opportunity with the right company and a way that I can market. A lot of companies are still about, let's do that old school need any marketing, get out there in the community, meet one person at a time. And that was not going to work with me because I have bad days and good days, sometimes lots of bad days. But one of my kids, one of my girls, has spent the last probably 6 months needing round the clock supervision. And you just can't go do that. So by being able to work my way into attraction marketing and staying from home, when I have those days like that, I can still work from my computer. And so it gives me this opportunity now to build something that will help me out through my retirement and then help me out when I'm gone, because I've got this passel of children that are not going to be able to live independently. And it's not like the state has some great plan for them, or I have any great plan after I'm gone.
Right, exactly. And I mean, that's the reality for those of us with kids who, fall somewhere on the spectrum of disability. Mine is fortunately disabled enough or unfortunately disabled enough that she will become a ward of the state
Mm-hmm.
and funding will continue. But that's not the norm, right? I would say you kind of get both lucky and unlucky if you manage to meet those
Exactly.
criteria. And, here's the thing that I hear from a lot of people, and I'm glad that you brought up, the connective tissue disorder and some of the disabilities and stuff that you're dealing with, because I hear from a lot of people of, well, I can't possibly work today because I'm not whatever, or I can't whatever, I'm just not. So how do you answer that? Well, that, come back to that, well, I've got a disability, I've got fibromyalgia, I've got whatever, I've got all these bad days. So how am I ever going to have any kind of a business and grow it?
So, what I have learned to do, and this is important in my entire day-to-day life, is you have to have a plan that goes from A to Z. You can't have a plan that goes from A to B to C to D, or you're going to feel like a failure all the time because you're setting these rigid goals that you cannot meet them because you don't know what your tomorrow is going to look like. You don't even know what your 2 hours from now is going to look like. So,
Right.
the first thing is know that you're trying to get to your big goal and be happy with your don't look at a gap and a gain mentality. You want to look at where you've come from yesterday, not where you want to get to a year from now. And then look at what you can do. So I'll tell you, I hurt my back really bad 2.5 weeks ago, and I've barely been able to walk. So I found my zero gravity lawn chair, and it's sitting in my living room with a bunch of pillows surrounding me. And if I can only do a half an hour of work on my computer at a time, I'm getting a little bit of basic things done. I'm eking out a little bit. And if that's all I do for the day, I'm happy with that. So I found something to do that's getting me by. But for a lot of people, they don't have I should say, the luxury of that being enough for them. And it's really a tough situation to be in. Um, there's sometimes, this is hard to say, you're just screwed. You might lose all your income from a real job, a 9 to 5 job, and you might be in so much pain from fibromyalgia that you spend a week in bed. But all you can do is the little bit that you can do and try to be okay with that, but find the way that you can modify your day such that you can. And I know that one of the biggest things that took me multiple years to learn, I know I'm going in circles a little bit, is don't do more than you can do. You're going to pay for it on the other side. So
100%.
figure out what your body can handle, do that, be happy with it. And then the next day, do what you can do, because overdoing it, and I know, overdoing it, you're going to pay the piper the next day and the day
Exactly.
after, and it is not worth it.
Well, and the other thing here is, okay, so life handed you a crappy set of cards,
Yes.
and now you're playing poker with a really crappy set of cards.
Yes.
And that means that your entire game plan and your entire strategy is correspondingly going to have to change. You can't force yourself through if you don't have the aces in your hand.
No. And I'll tell you, that requires a mindset shift that is really hard to do. The first year after I lost my job, because I was a very, very type A driven person. I was at the time homeschooling 2 of my kids with autism, working full time, go, 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 very perfectionistic. And this is something I've discussed with people before, but here in America, we tie our self-worth to our careers. When you meet someone, the first thing you say is, "Hi, my name is Julie and I'm a nurse." And so when you aren't that anymore, suddenly you feel like you have no value. So not only it's literally embarrassing to meet someone when you're of working age and you have to say, "I don't work, I'm disabled." So you have to get over that mental hurdle of not feeling like you're worth anything, and then not feeling like you have any purpose in life because you can't work, and then the physical pain of being disabled that comes and goes. And that the only thing you can do is shift your own mind to not see that in such a negative light and not feel like a failure. And I know it took me a full year. And I was actually suicidal for a time during that, mostly because of the pain, but also the mental shift. And then I came out of it. But I know a lot of people that never come out of it, and they live in their disability. And you can't do that.
Right. And I mean, and that's the important thing is, they live in their disability. And I mean, unfortunately, I've seen it. It's really easy to fall into the trap of, well, people feel sorry for me, so I'm going to live in it. I'm going to wallow in it. But that doesn't pay your bills.
No.
And people aren't going to give you money just because they feel sorry for you.
Nope. No. And the state is not going to give you enough money to live.
No.
Your disability is not going to be enough to live.
No, it's 100% not.
And you know, raising a disabled child, I'm sure that you have heard this 100 times. People say to you, how do you do it? How do you do it? And eventually you just laugh because the answer is, what choice do I have? They don't come with a return policy. They're yours once you get them, so you can't send them back. I'm talking about with your kids. How do you do it with your kids? You
Right.
just do. And it's the
You,
same way
yeah. What
in your
other choice did I have?
right,
Exactly.
right.
I could go running, screaming from the building. Well, I have done that a few times,
Yep.
but it
But
didn't
they're still
change the
there when
fact
you come
that,
back. Yep. And it's the same thing with the chronic disease. You There's no magic wand. You know, the only thing you can do is try to find the best doctors you can,
Mhm.
and find and follow the treatment plan, and participate where you can. And then, and you know too, then you just, again, it's a mental mind shift. There's a big part of it where you have to suck it up, because if you live in it, it gets worse. You know, the pain is worse, the depression is worse, the whole situation is worse. And I am
Mhm.
not saying that you don't deserve to feel like it sucks, because it does. When you have multiple chronic illnesses or something that's particularly horribly painful, it sucks. But
And when it's flaring, it sucks. Like I told you before we got on here. Yes, I have a migraine right now
yep.
because the weather is shifting and it's flaring up right now. And you saw we got on here and she's like, "How are you doing?" And I looked at her and I grinned and I'm like, and it's like, yes, I have a migraine and I'm slapping lipstick on and I'm gonna do this thing. And that's part of it. And does it suck? Yes. Does my head hurt? Yes. And you do what you got to do as much as you can, as much as you can tolerate, and you find a way to structure your entire life. So the next piece is, not just like not living in it and not giving into it, but like making a point of restructuring your life.
Yes. And I know we have a lot of things here at home that are accommodations to try to make it easier for everyone. Three of my
Mhm.
kids are affected. And the thing with Ehlers-Danlos, the connective tissue we have, is that you've got a 50% chance of passing it on to your kids. And it's like autism. There's black and there's white, and you can be anywhere along that scale. And you have different body systems that can be affected by it, and it's connected to a lot of other illnesses. So it's sort of like drawing cards out of a bag, and you're like, ooh, let's have a little thyroid disorder, and you get a migraine, and you get a little heart issue, and let's give you really bad finger joints and knee joints. And so, my
And the severity can be anywhere along the scale too.
yep, it can. You can have someone in a wheelchair, and you can have someone that just has knees that pop out, and you don't know when they're born, and you don't know when they're teenagers or when they turn 50 what it will be like. But we
Mhm.
have a lot of tools in our kitchen, especially to make it easier, because my younger ones have particularly floppy wrists and fingers, and so cutting with a knife, or opening cans, lots of those things, it just doesn't work, because it's not even a strength issue. It's that when you try to make your fingers work and instead they just bend over backwards, you can't make something happen. So you look for tools that accommodate that. And
Right.
you have to teach your way around it. You say, don't carry in a heavy grocery bag because your wrist is going to pull out a joint. Um, but you
Yeah.
live your whole life then, and you don't even realize how much you're doing it. But you live your whole life going, oh, don't push the vacuum too far out. Your shoulder's going to pull out a joint. So, it's just, you come up with accommodation methods, and that's how you live.
Mhm. Yeah. No, I do know. So tell me, like, from a income perspective, because that's the elephant in the room. Like, what did you do?
So I was always very conscious of what could happen, because I was a single mom for 17 years. And as a
Mhm.
single mom, I always thought, uh, what could happen if I lost my job? And I was very, very
Right.
smart ahead of time. So when I was working, I bought my long term disability policy. And then I also bought the, you can pay extra to get your income bumped. Like the company provided 65% long-term disability, and then you could pay extra and then they'd take it up to 75% of your income for long-term disability. So I was incredibly lucky because then when I got disabled, the state has refused 4 times. They refused to let me get disability. So I'm sorry, the government. So I never got approved for Social Security disability. I was denied 3 times and went to a hearing, then I was denied. But I'm on long-term disability through my job. I'm very, very lucky. So I actually came out okay. I get by okay-ish on that money. It will never increase. It stays the same as it was when it was given to me 13 years ago. So every year I make less. And when I turn 65, it's going to go away completely. So I have to have a plan. I'm making more than people who are on SSI, but still, it's not like I'm having a party and eating steak off of it. And when I turn 65, the amount of Social Security that I'm going to get will be pretty minimal because I didn't finish nursing school till I was 30. I had been married and didn't get to go to school. And then I lost my job when I was 37. So I've only got 7 years of actual, good working history. So that's why I looked at this and I said, what am I going to do? How am I going to solve this problem of having income when I turn 65 and lose everything? But I'm definitely better off than a lot of people with my connective tissue disorder really struggle because they're profoundly disabled, but in the Blue Book, which is the Social Security manual for who determines disability, our disease isn't mentioned by name. So you have to get a doctor that's willing to call it a whole bunch of other things to get you through disability. And we look great some days. I am sure you experience this. Some days you come in and you look wonderful, and other days, a few days ago with my back being out, I was on the floor and they were carrying me around. So if you go in on a great day, it's very easy for them to just say, it looks good. What's your problem?
Yeah, no, I get it. And I mean, so tell me about this nutrigenomics life damage thing that you're doing.
So this is incredibly exciting to me. It's something that my doctor actually brought up to me about a year ago. So first, nutrigenomics is an area of science that's fairly new, and it investigates how nutrition can actually affect our genes. And just as a little reminder for people that don't know, but your genes are the small pieces of DNA that contain the information of what your body cells are going to do, what they're going to make. And they make everything from the proteins that make your hair grow. They tell the immune system what to do, what to respond to an injury, or what color your eyes are going to be or your hair is going to be. And so we didn't know enough about how that worked until the Human Genome Project was completed in 1990. And once that was done, we had read every gene in the body. We had them all there, but we didn't know what all of them did. And now we have a much better idea what a lot of them do, but there's still a lot of holes. What we can tell now is that we can look now at when you eat certain nutrients, we can see them activating genes. So there's this science that's really exciting because we're getting all this information about how we can change what the body does based on how people eat. And over time, there's lots of exciting studies coming out that are hopefully in the future, we will be able to tell people individual nutrition plans to help them be healthier in many different ways, because people's genes don't do the same thing always based on what they eat. And you have different needs than I have for how to stay healthy. Everyone is different. So that's the basis of it. But my company, LifeVantage, every mammal has a gene called the NRF2 gene. And that one specifically makes antioxidants. It makes the vast majority of the antioxidants in your body. And those play an incredibly crucial role in just keeping your cells healthy. They basically go out and neutralize and attack the things that the damage that comes in from the sun, from smoking, pollution, even breathing creates little free radicals, which are the damaging things. Well, this NRF2 gene, it chugs along at high speed, cranking out all the antioxidants that you need really fast until we're about 20. And that's when everything starts to go to crap. You don't realize it because it's happening inside. But lots of processes start to slow down when you're 20. And one of them is the speed of this gene working. And as you age, it makes fewer and fewer of these antioxidants. Well, we've developed a product that is entirely made of natural herbs. And scientifically, you can go in and measure what's going on with the gene, but it can kickstart the speed of this production. So it actually speeds up the production of the antioxidant again. It speeds up that NRF2 gene. So instead of you tapering off as you get older and making less and less antioxidants, it sends you up, up, up. And by sending you up, up, up with those antioxidants, you're reducing the oxidative stress in your body, which is really just a measure of your cells getting sicker. And the cool thing is, you always hear eat your antioxidants. I'm sure you've heard that. Get your berries, get your greens. Well, when you eat them, they're able to neutralize those little attacking particles, the free radicals, but they can only neutralize them on a one-to-one basis. But making things in your body is always better. And when you make an antioxidant, those can neutralize 1 million free radicals. So basically, it's 1 million times better than eating an antioxidant molecule. So did that make sense for the most part?
Yep, it did.
Okay.
Yep. So how does somebody get in touch with you?
Well, I put you've got my website in the link. I could give you my email address as well and my phone number. And I should have mentioned the only herbs in the NRF2 are turmeric, bacoba, ashwagandha, milk thistle, and look, we were talking about brain fog earlier. I just had a brain fog moment. So I can't tell you right now, but they're in very precise amounts and this took the human genome process going on for us to figure out what is the precise amount it took to ramp that production up. So it's just scientifically, it's exciting to me because I'm a math science geek, but seeing what you can do with the genes based on what people take in is just cool.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been blown away in the last few years, particularly post-weight loss surgery, how the supplements that you take, the nutrients that you take, the vitamins that you take, all of it, everything you eat makes such a massive difference in every single aspect of your health and your body and your life. So, cool stuff.
Yep. And speaking of to the weight loss, we know now that we can see there's genes that are activated by increased consumption of those, the foods that are processed. And then that increases the production in the GLP-1 gene, which then makes you insulin resistant. And that's why all these meds are being targeting that particular area, the Wegovy and the long injections. So, right now we've got that targeted treatment in there, but if we stop eating the food that's affecting that gene, we wouldn't need the meds. And so there's a targeted nutrition area. Again, there's just so many places for this technology to go. It's very exciting.
Very cool. Yeah, very cool. Y'all check out her link, check out her website, and thank you for being with me here today. I really appreciate it. This is super informative and very inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you. Hope your headache is better.
Thank you. It's getting there.
Good.